Hello everyone. It's now only about, I think, 9 days left to the deadline. So if you have listened to some of my previous videos, you might remember that I recommended Submit. Submit already now. And if you work on some improvements, you can always open the submitted project proposal and resubmit. This is something which I can't highlight enough because if you submit now and resubmit later, it will help you to see if there are any technical hiccups that you still have to solve. And it's really, really stressful to solve these technical hiccups the last possible day. So, recommendation number one, submit whatever you have right now. And when you update your text, resubmit the new version. It's really easy to do it. I did video on that, and you can just follow that video with simple instructions. I think I tried to do this one really short. So that's one recommendation. The second recommendation relates to the quality of your text. You need to understand that your project proposal is not only about your ideas and the place where are you going to go and spend your fellowship and the topic you are going to work on. This all, of course, has to be excellent. But what is important part of this game is the language. How are you able to express your thoughts in written form? And this relates to the quality of words, the quality of language. It doesn't have to be sophisticated grammar. Actually, the simpler grammar you use, the better it is because you avoid any kind of confusion when it comes to reviewers who are not that good in English. This might be reality as well. So, how can you help to improve the quality of your written text at the moment when we don't have that much time anymore? So, well, the best situation would be if you have someone else who could read the text for you and give you feedback. This feedback, well, ideally, could be based on the structure of the evaluation form. But even if you have someone who is willing to read your text without checking all the questions that are being served to the reviewers, even that person is going to be really valuable to you because he or she will give you feedback where it was difficult to read your project, where they lost your train of thoughts, and where you probably might have become a bit inconsistent or where you had some kind of mistakes in the text. So this all has to be identified before you submit. So the easiest way how you can improve your project proposal if you don't have someone like this who would give you external feedback is to read your project proposal aloud. And well, when we tend to read without expressing the words by mouth, we tend to overlook the weak passages in our text. While if you start to read it aloud, then suddenly you can see what is going to happen in the mind of your reviewer when he or she is going to read your text. So, reading your project proposal aloud helps you a bit to get into the shoes of your reviewer and see where are the weak points of your text. And again, when you do this reading exercise, focus on both good parts and bad parts and be inspired by sections where you were really clear about your project story and use these methods that you were so successful with in other parts of the text in those weaker parts which are difficult to understand and difficult to read through. So that's recommendation number one. Recommendation number two, if you don't want to do this reading exercise, which I highly recommend, is to create a kind of reverse structure of your text. Take your project proposal and for every paragraph, write one or two words that express the core idea of the paragraph. If you attended any classes on academic writing, you know that one paragraph should equal to one idea, one thought. So, number one, if you have too many thoughts in one paragraph, it will be difficult to read and difficult to navigate thinking and the whole evaluation process. So, don't confuse your reviewer. So, focus on clear paragraphs Have always one paragraph for one idea, one thought, and do this reverse structure. So always pick the core idea and represent it by one or two or three words. And once you do this reverse structure, just read it through because it gives you a logical backbone, logical structure of your project proposal. So by seeing this logical structure, you will see what you are going to tell to your reviewer. So be careful. Sometimes I could see in this exercise that people, the core ideas explaining why their project proposal is important and challenging and excellent, they hid it somewhere in between lots of paragraphs and sometimes even at the end, somewhere at the end. And well, I thought, well, this I needed at the beginning to understand why you suggested this or that. So always look at your logical structure, whether it works towards being credible, comprehensible, and clear when it comes to sharing your idea. And my last recommendation is a kind of technical recommendation. Um, we tend to write long sentences in research. I don't know if you suffer from this illness. I definitely do. I tend to write long sentences, but for reading is always better when you switch between short and long sentence. So never have two or three long sentences next to each other. Always break the longer thought by a shorter one because you need to see every sentence like one breath in and breath out. So when we see the final stop, it's like we breathe in and we need to process the thought you presented in your sentence. So again, if your sentence is too long, I can't keep on breathing. Well, all the time breathing in, you just also need to breathe out. So look at the written and structure of your sentences. It is going to help you a lot. Well, so that's all from me for now. I thought that I should do more on editing, and I will, but at the moment I thought that give you giving you a couple of simple advice how to improve your project proposal could be helpful at this stage. I mustn't confuse you too much, so just read it aloud. If you identify any problem, focus on this problematic part and rewrite it. When you rewrite it, keep in mind one idea, one paragraph. um, well, as I said, the topic sentences and so on. Implement this in your rewritten text. And another technique is always switch between short and long sentences. This is something that makes easier for reader to go through your text, particularly if it's more challenging one, which project proposals always are. So anyway, that's all from me for now. I will try to do kind of more videos on how to write a good project proposal, how to work with language, how we understand language, because when we write, we need to focus on this understanding of written language in order to be able to create better texts, texts that are going to express our thoughts in such manner that the reviewer will understand it in a similar way we hope for. So that's all from me for now. Best of luck. I keep my fingers crossed. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask. Thank you very much for your attention.